Hey guys, my name is Amruth, and I'm here to make you feel like children today, filled with curiosity. Are we alone? This is a question that has stood the test of time ever since humans emerged on this planet. Astronomy has a path to the answer. Astronomy is the oldest science in the world. When our ancestors worked hard and slept at night, they didn't have phones, they didn't have computers, so all they could do was lie down, stare at the sky, look at the stars, and wonder, are we alone? Are there others like us amongst the stars wondering the same thing? Today, astronomy tells us that the universe is a very large place. Okay, it's a very large playground, but there's no one to play with. All we know is that Earth is the one planet that has life. The question is, where is everyone? In science, this is known as the Fermi paradox. You'll see why in a few minutes. But first, let's take a few minutes to look at a pretty picture of our universe. It might not be dark enough here, but this is one of the deepest images of our universe, taken with the Hubble Space Telescope. Every dot that you see here is an individual galaxy, a galaxy home to hundreds of billions of stars, just like our sun. Now, this picture contains about 10,000 galaxies, but it's a very tiny fraction of our sky. To really cover the entire sky, you'd need pictures like this, you'd need 26 million of them. Now, let me show you another pretty picture. This is a galaxy cluster. It's a family of galaxies that are living together, bound by gravity. Now, again, every dot here is an individual galaxy, right? What happens if I zoom in? Now you look at the Andromeda galaxy. This is the closest neighboring galaxy to our own galaxy, the Milky Way. Every dot that you see here now is an individual star, but more likely, a cluster of stars, thousands to millions of stars grouped together. The story of finding extraterrestrials starts with Nikola Tesla. Now, before I start this, I hope I've convinced you, if there's one thing you take away and when you leave today, is that the universe is a very, very large place. Surely we're not alone, right? Surely someone else is out there. Nikola Tesla here, an enigmatic man, a famous scientist, most well known for discovering alternating current, the bedrock of modern civilization. He did a lot of other things, but you can see here on a picture on the right, him sitting in his lab. This is a real picture, by the way. You can see all the electrical sparks flying around. And one day in his experiments, he detected radio signals from the planet Mars. When Mars set in the night sky, the signal stopped. So naturally, he thought that this was someone or something sending him signals, right? People thought he was crazy, so it went forgotten. You fast forward 50 years to the Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, where the Manhattan Project was based. If you watched Oppenheimer, the movie, it's in the theaters. If you haven't, go watch it. You'll recognize this. But this is where the first atom bomb was made, right? Now, in the picture on the left, you see Enrico Fermi in the middle, an Italian physicist who won the Nobel Prize for building the first nuclear reactor. Now, Fermi unfortunately died of cancer because he was working with radiation, and many of his students died of cancer as well because they were working near the reactors. So kids don't listen to your teachers all the time, right? Now, Fermi, one day he was having lunch with his buddies, and they were discussing UFO sightings, reports of aliens. And he just randomly shouted out, "Where is everyone? Life should be so probable in our universe, but we haven't detected anything." And this is why today we call this the Fermi paradox. The first serious searches for aliens began in the 1960s with astronomer Frank Drake. He used these massive radio telescopes, pointed them at stars, and listened for unusual signals. He detected nothing. Now, scientists are very, very persistent people. They don't usually give up that easily. So he asked his friend, Carl Sagan, another famous astronomer, but even more popular for science communication. He wrote a book called Cosmos. This book is still the most sold science book in the world. But he was even more famous. He won multiple Emmy Awards for the TV show Cosmos. Now, this was a 13-episode show in the 1980s about our universe, about life, and this is still the most watched TV show in American public broadcasting service. Now, Carl Sagan said, look, let's send out physical messages into space, right? So what they did was they designed something called the Pioneer plaque. This is a piece of metal, like you can see on the right, and then they attached this to the Pioneer spacecraft. This spacecraft was designed to visit Jupiter for the first time. Now, if I zoom into the plaque, you'll see this contained information about humans, about Earth, and a map of how to find Earth. Those lines that you see there, that's the map. So if an alien found this map, they'd be able to come to Earth and, of course, take over, like in all the movies you see, right? They didn't stop here. The Voyager 1. The Voyager 1 is another spacecraft launched in 1978, and this is the furthest man-made object. It left our solar system a few years ago. It's still functioning, incredibly. I don't know how. It's been functioning for 46 years now. And you can see that was the launch picture. Now, the Voyager took spectacular images of our solar system for the first time. In the middle, you see the Great Red Spot. This is a raging storm that has been going on for 400 years, right? And the size of this storm is 3 times the size of Earth. So you can fit in 3 Earths into the storm there. On the right, you see Io, a moon of Jupiter. It's the most volcanically active body in the solar system. People call it a cheese pizza because it has lava flowing all the time on the moon. You can see a tiny white thing there. That's an eruption from a volcano, launching material 200 kilometers into the atmosphere. Now, Voyager also photographed Saturn, one of the most beautiful objects in our solar system, and its rings. That's not all that Voyager did, though. Carl Sagan designed what we now call the Voyager Golden Record. This contained information about humans, about Earth, but it also contained 120 images of people dancing, singing, animals, all kinds of stuff. They also included many songs, as well as greetings in multiple languages, including Cantonese and Mandarin. Now, I've been telling you about the love letters that we've been sending out into space, hoping to get a reply. I certainly didn't get any replies in high school. But have we heard back from anyone? Well, we might have. In 2017, telescopes in Hawaii picked up a very unusual object. Now, this object is called Oumuamua, which means scout in Hawaiian. Now, you can see here the picture on the right. That's the best image we have, a tiny dot. Now, this object is the first interstellar object that humans discovered. That means it doesn't belong to our solar system. It came from somewhere else, from another star system, right? That's the first time. Now, it had a very unusual trajectory that we couldn't explain with natural explanations. It wasn't a comet. It wasn't an asteroid. What was it? Well, some astronomers, one of which is Avi Loeb, who was the longest-standing head of astronomy at Harvard University, he said, look, this might be an artificial object, artificially made, like a spacecraft. This could be a light sail, like you see on the right here. A light sail is like a sail on a boat, but instead of wind, it uses sunlight for propulsion. Now, this created a lot of controversy, and it still remains a subject of debate, right? A lot of scientists, for some reason, don't have such an open mind, and they don't want to consider the possibility that this could be an alien object. Now, I'm not saying this is aliens, but it was aliens, all right? If you know Arthur C. Clarke, one of the fathers of modern science fiction, he wrote a book called Rendezvous with Rama in the 1970s. Now, in this book, the exact same thing happens. An alien spacecraft enters our solar system. Humans think it's a rock, and soon they find out that it's a spacecraft with its own ecosystem inside, like you can see on the cover here. Now, the final message that I want you to take away, Carl Sagan famously said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Now, I'd like to add to this and say, but to do so requires an open mind. If you look at the picture on the right, this is also a picture famously known as the pale blue dot, also taken by the Voyager. at the request of Carl Sagan. If you look very closely, I don't know if you can see, but there's a tiny dot suspended in the sunbeam there, a little blue dot. That's Earth. That's our home, right? That pixel. That's where we live on. That's where all of recorded history took place. Now, this picture has continued to show us that it is incredibly important to be kind to one another, to develop compassion, and to be humble. Astronomy is a very humbling science. We are not at the center of the universe. Now, my hope is that the future generations, young people like you in the audience, will keep these values at heart. Because if we are to make first contact with an alien civilization, the most important ingredient is to have an open mind. I hope that the younger generation will take humanity to the stars. Thank you.